Welcome back to the Mountain Morning Show, and from the Sundance Shorts section of Sundance, I am so pleased to have here the filmmakers from Notes on Blindness. I have next to me Peter Middleton and James Spiney. Welcome, gentlemen, both to the set here.
Thank you very much.
Thrilled to have you.
Here.
Oh, absolutely. I wanted to first mention, obviously, you're kind of note. You've won a couple of awards before, James.
Yes, that's right. So Notes on Blindness has been gestating for a while. It was about 3 years ago that we first came across this archive of audio cassettes that was started by the writer John Hull, who went blind in the 1980s and started keeping these audio diaries to sort of make sense of what blindness was doing to his life. We discovered these about 3 years ago and immediately knew that we had to work with them in some way. And so we made a short film called Notes on Blindness Rainfall, which was about 3 minutes long, and that played at festivals worldwide and picked up some awards. Yeah. And that's now been included in this film we've got here at Sundance.
Very cool. Was this, from your time spent listening to these tapes, was this a painful experience for him? Going into blindness?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think certainly the initial period, it was a huge adjustment for him. I mean, the diaries are incredibly deep and have an enormous breadth. They kind of range from the kind of the endless practical challenges of blindness, how to cross a street, how to talk to strangers, to the more poetic, so what it's like to live without faces, without the seasons, without day and night, and of course deeply personal as well. John had a young family at the time, and his wife, so what it's like to lose that intimacy with his wife, how it's like to dream about seeing the face of your youngest child for the first time, and he's been wrenched back into the darkness of waking consciousness. So yes, I think the initial years certainly were incredibly painful for him. But there is a point throughout the course of the diaries where there's this enormous sea change in John's sort of state of mind, and he realizes that he needs to reject the kind of nostalgia of the visual world and live wholly in blindness, and it leads to an enormous kind of bloom in his life, and in the end he comes to see sort of blindness as a dark paradoxical gift, just a new way of life.
They say that often for blind people, dreaming is the most difficult thing, because especially if they had vision previously, that's when, as I understand it, you can see. I mean, obviously in your dreams you see again. So this must be you'd almost not want to wake up.
Absolutely, yeah. So John describes it as his last visual state of consciousness, and in the early years he really kind of clings on to the dream life as a way of almost entertainment. He describes them as films, often in the diaries, he'll kind of get confused. He'll start recounting his dreams and refers to them as a film he watched. It's kind of funny.
But as well as being kind of visual refreshment, these dreams become kind of a place where his anxieties are played out, and that's very interesting as filmmakers approaching the material. So John has these kind of quite cinematic dreams of sort of crashing waves sweeping away his children, or of being dragged to the depths of the ocean, and this has really informed our approach in terms of visualizing this material.
Wow. One thing that I have to ask with regard to this, and it kind of alludes to what you just said, the darkness of blindness, is that also this is audio, which is blind. It makes the rest of us blind, essentially. You were able to put some visuals to this that are a little different.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we're very fortunate, as James alluded to there. The book is incredibly rich in terms of visual metaphor, in terms of the dream life, in terms of John's imaginative life. There's an awful lot of material there to give us kind of inspiration to to draw upon as filmmakers. But our approach was slightly unconventional. We kind of, although we do have this kind of audio narration which forms the backbone, we have actors and sets and to bring his world to life.
And we have a little bit of the B-roll of the film running right now. The runtime on this, as I understand, is about 13 minutes. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. And when you already had a premiere last night in Salt Lake.
That's right.
And I understand that went very well.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was kind of a full house and a really kind of engaged audience. It's amazing to see audiences come out for short films. It's kind of great.
Yeah, I imagine it's a little bit otherworldly coming from, you've got people from the UK, Australia, all of a suddenly here in Utah, of all places.
Yeah.
But it is, obviously the Sundance Film Festival, but still, does it feel a little a little strange to be entertaining some folks here in the States?
I guess so. I mean, but this John's story is kind of a universal story of rebirth and renewal. So it does cross borders, and it does seem to work wherever it's played. Yeah.
I have to ask about your previous work because obviously we know you won for the movie Wavelengths previously at the Shortcuts. Tell us just a little bit about that experience. It's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, well, that was quite a while ago now.
2011, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. That's it's one of the first films that Peter and I worked on, actually. And that was a 12-minute short. It's very different. That was a fiction short, but it still had themes of disability and.
It set us up very nicely. I mean, off the back of that, we then
prepared us for this,
and I mean, when we got the tapes, we knew that we wanted to develop a feature. So that's very much what this Notes on Blindness is. It's kind of a stepping stone to help us get John's full story out there. And yeah, certainly all the experience we've had on our previous films has set us up nicely. So.
Excellent. When will we be showing the film here in Park City? When will we be able to see it?
Tomorrow at the Yarrow, 12 o'clock.
Right, that's great. That's right here in front of the studio. So I'll be sure to get over there for that.
Great.
That's excellent.
And if you can't, actually, it's on the New York Times website as well. So they did a bit of a launch on Wednesday.
A bit of a launch would be an understatement. Are you kidding me? They've celebrated you with the New York Times.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
It's cool, yeah.
So not only do they have that, but they have some folks for blind. They have some things for blind folks.
That's right. So they've really gone to town on trying to ensure that the film is accessible for blind and partially sighted audiences. So if you go onto the website, which is NYTimes/Notes on Blindness, you'll see there's some audio description versions, there's closed caption versions. There's also some responses from John on there, where it's talking through incredibly emotionally, talking through some of the themes in the films. It's quite a thing, really. We're really excited by it.
I imagine that your experience doing this, as well as Wavelengths, do you feel a pretty strong sense of responsibility for people with disabilities that are enjoying your work? There must be something about that. You're sort of telling their tale all together at once. I mean, it rivals Helen Keller. It's quite amazing.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, we do, and that's something that we're very conscious about. Thinking about that experience for disabled audiences, we're trying to build that in right from the start of the film. So rather than it being just an afterthought that we can staple on at the end, not only is it kind of very much wrapped up in the story, but also in how audiences can experience the work. So yeah, it's kind of integral.
Have you thought about what you'll be doing next?
It's all about the feature film. So we've got this 16 hours worth of John's audio tapes.
So you'd like to do this
30 minutes,
film.
and we're developing it to feature, and hopefully shooting later in the year.
I would imagine with the backing of the Times, certainly the New York Times saying such great things, and I'm sure it's going to be well received here. My guess is we're going to see you at the full length very soon.
I hope so, yeah. It'd be great to come back here in 2016 with the feature. It'd be cool.
Well, gentlemen, I sure appreciate you being here to share this very important story, and I wish you the very best to continue as you move forward towards the full film.
Thank you very much.
All right. Notes on Blindness. We will be back with more right here on the Mountain Morning Show in just a moment.